Ladies and gentlemen, today I want you to walk out of here with a belief so strong, so unshakable that it becomes the foundation of everything you do in your life. That belief is this: I will never lose. Now, some of you might be thinking, how is that possible? Everyone loses at some point. Let me tell you something. Losing is a mindset. It's not the scoreboard, the rejection, or the failure that defines you. It's how you choose to respond. When the world knocks you down, and it will, you have two choices. You can either lie there, blaming the world, or you can stand up, dust yourself off, and declare, this is not the end of my story. Think about the most successful people in the world, the ones who inspire us, who leave a legacy. Do you think they never faced adversity? No. What separates them is their ability to take every setback, every failure, and turn it into fuel. They don't see losses, they see lessons. Let me tell you this, every time life says no, it's a challenge to dig deeper. It's an opportunity to get stronger, to grow, to evolve into the version of you that you were born to become. Losing isn't failure, it's feedback, and feedback is priceless. I want you to imagine for a moment that you're standing on a battlefield. The odds are against you. The critics are shouting. The voices of doubt are screaming in your ear. What do? Do you retreat? Do you surrender? No, you dig in, you plant your flag and declare, I will not back down. I will not lose. Because here's the truth, as long as you're learning, adapting, and pushing forward, you've already won. Every stumble is a step closer to mastery. Every scar is proof that you're in the arena fighting for your dreams. So, let me ask you, what would your life look like if you truly believed that you could never lose? What risks would you take? What mountains would you climb? What limits would you shatter? Here's a secret. That version of you already exists. That unstoppable, unshakable, undefeatable person is inside you, waiting to be unleashed. It starts with a decision, right here, right now. Say it with me. I will never lose. Say it again, louder this time. I will never lose. Feel the power in those words. Let them sink into your soul. Let them become your mantra. And the next time life tests you, when things don't go your way, when the storms roll in, remember this. You're not losing, you're learning. You're building the strength to win the battles that matter most. So go out there, face the challenges, take the risks, live boldly. And when the dust settles, you'll stand tall, knowing you've not only survived, but thrived. Because losing, that's not in your DNA. You will never lose. Losing is a mindset, not a reality. Too many people go through life believing that failure is permanent, that once they fall, they can never rise again. But the truth is, the only real failure is accepting defeat as your final destination. What separates those who thrive from those who remain stuck is not talent, luck, or external circumstances. It's the mindset they choose to adopt. The moment you decide that losing is not an option, everything in your world shifts. Think about a time when you faced a setback. Maybe it was in your career, in your relationships, in your health, or in your personal ambitions. At that moment, it felt like the end. The weight of disappointment, frustration, and even shame might have crushed you. But looking back, was it truly the end? Or was it just a moment, an experience, a lesson that was meant to shape you into something greater? The only thing that makes failure real is the belief that you can't come back from it. If you remove that belief, what you're left with is a challenge. Something that can be overcome, learned from, and turned into fuel for future success. History is filled with stories of people who refused to accept the label of loser even when the world tried to brand them as one. Entrepreneurs who went bankrupt before building billion-dollar companies. Athletes who were cut from teams before becoming legends. Innovators who were laughed at before they changed the world. The common thread among them all is that they never saw failure as the end. They saw it as part of the process. And because they refused to see themselves as losers, they never truly lost. The problem is that most people allow failure to define them. They take a temporary setback and turn it into a permanent identity. They say, I failed, so I must be a failure. But that's a lie. Just because you lost a game doesn't mean you're a loser. Just because you didn't close that deal doesn't mean you're not a winner. Just because your relationship ended doesn't mean you're incapable of love. These are all just moments in time. They do not define you unless you allow them to. The only thing that defines you is what you choose to believe about yourself. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you have. It has the ability to shape your reality. If you believe that you are defeated, your actions will follow that belief. You will hesitate, you will play small, and you will subconsciously sabotage your own success. But if you believe that you are unstoppable, that every setback is just another stepping stone, then nothing can truly hold you back. Most people are conditioned to fear failure from a young age. Society tells us that making mistakes is bad, that losing is embarrassing, that if you fail, you're not good enough. But the truth is, the most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most. Why? Because every failure taught them something. Every failure made them stronger. Every failure sharpened their skills, deepened their wisdom, and reinforced their resilience. They didn't run from failure, they embraced it. They didn't see it as the end, they saw it as the beginning of something greater. When you shift your perspective and refuse to see losing as reality, something incredible happens. You start taking more action. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop fearing judgment. Because suddenly, failure is no longer something to be afraid of. It's just another step in the journey. And the more steps you take, the closer you get to your goal. The people who never achieve greatness are the ones who let failure paralyze them. They get knocked down, and instead of getting back up, they stay down. They replay their mistakes in their minds over and over again, reinforcing the idea that they're not capable, that they're not worthy, that they'll never succeed. But this is just a story they are telling themselves. It's not reality. Reality is whatever you decide it is. If you've been holding on to the belief that losing is the end, that failure is final, I want you to challenge that belief right now. Think about something in your life that didn't go as planned. Instead of seeing it as a loss, ask yourself, what did I learn? How did it shape me? How can I use this experience to make me stronger? The moment you shift your mindset, the moment you see every loss as a lesson, you take back your power. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the architect of your own destiny. Most people don't realize how much control they have over their lives. They think success is about luck, talent, or external validation. But success is an inside job. It starts with how you think, how you see yourself, and how you respond to challenges. When you adopt the mindset that losing is impossible, that every experience is a stepping stone to something greater, then nothing can stop you. You might stumble, you might fall, but you will always rise. And that is what separates winners from those who never reach their potential. You were not put on this earth to live a life of limitation. You were not meant to be held back by fear, doubt, or past mistakes. Everything you need to succeed is already within you. The only thing standing between you and your greatest potential is your mindset. The moment you decide that losing is not an option, that failure is just feedback, and that every setback is a setup for a comeback, you become unstoppable. Most people never reach their full potential because they let the fear of losing keep them from playing full out. They don't take risks, they don't put themselves out there, they don't push their limits because they are terrified of what will happen if they fail. But what they don't realize is that the greatest failure of all is never trying. The greatest regret is looking back at your life and knowing you played it safe, that you let fear dictate your decisions, that you settled for less than you were capable of. Every great success story starts with someone who refused to quit. Someone who faced failure after failure and kept going anyway. Someone who ignored the naysayers, silenced their own doubts, and committed to the process no matter how many times they fell. They weren't the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They were simply the ones who refused to see failure as final. You have that same power within you, the power to rise, to overcome, to push past limitations, and to create a life beyond anything you've imagined. But it all starts with one decision: to never see yourself as a loser. Because as long as you're still moving, as long as you're still learning, as long as you refuse to give up, you have already won. Every setback is feedback, not failure. Too often, people allow obstacles and disappointments to define their self-worth and dictate their future actions. They see a door closing and assume they are not meant to go through it. They hear a no and think it means they are not good enough. They face resistance and believe it is a sign to give up. But the reality is that setbacks are not signs to quit. They are signs to learn, adjust, and push forward with even greater determination. When something doesn't go as planned, most people react emotionally. They feel frustration, anger, or even shame. They internalize the experience and make it personal, believing that failure is a reflection of who they are. But setbacks are never personal. They are neutral. They are nothing more than signals, guiding you toward a better path, refining your approach, and preparing you for the success that lies ahead. Every great achievement in history was preceded by countless setbacks. The people who changed the world, who broke barriers, who built empires, they all faced rejection, doubt, and failure. What made them different was not that they never stumbled, but that they saw each setback as valuable feedback. They dissected their failures, extracted lessons, and used that knowledge to propel themselves forward. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they asked, "What can I learn from this?" That one shift in mindset changed everything. Consider an inventor working on a new creation. When the first prototype fails, does that mean the invention is impossible? Of course not. The failure simply reveals what doesn't work. It provides information, insight, and direction for improvement. The same applies to life. When a business deal falls through, it doesn't mean the business is doomed. It means there's something to refine in the strategy. When an athlete loses a game, it doesn't mean they lack talent. It means they have an opportunity to strengthen their skills. When a relationship ends, it doesn't mean love is out of reach. It means there's growth needed before the right connection can happen. Most people let setbacks paralyze them because they are focused on their emotions instead of the lesson. They replay their mistakes in their minds, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and discouragement. But the people who rise above setbacks do the opposite. They separate emotions from the experience and analyze it objectively. They ask themselves what they did right, what they did wrong, and what they can do differently next time. They approach setbacks like a scientist, testing a hypothesis without attachment, only with curiosity and a desire to improve. Feedback is one of the most valuable tools for growth, yet most people resist it. They avoid looking at their mistakes because it makes them uncomfortable. They surround themselves with people who only tell them what they want to hear, instead of people who challenge them to be better. But real success requires brutal honesty with yourself. It requires the willingness to examine your weaknesses, to acknowledge what needs improvement, and to take action based on that awareness. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who actively seek feedback, embrace it, and use it to refine their approach. Think about a musician learning a new instrument. In the beginning, they will hit wrong notes, struggle with timing, and feel frustrated with their lack of progress. But every mistake provides feedback. Every wrong note tells them what needs adjustment. Over time, through repetition and refinement, their playing improves. The same principle applies to any skill, any goal, any challenge. Setbacks are not signals to stop. They are part of the learning process, revealing the gaps that need to be filled in order to master something. The key to turning setbacks into growth is shifting how you perceive them. Instead of seeing them as failures, see them as stepping stones. Instead of taking them personally, take them professionally, meaning treat them as data, not as judgments about your worth. When something doesn't work, it's not a reflection of who you are, it's just a test of your strategy. If the strategy is flawed, change it. If the approach is weak, strengthen it. If the effort was lacking, increase it. But never make the mistake of equating a temporary setback with permanent defeat. One of the biggest mistakes people make is quitting too soon. They hit a roadblock and assume it means they aren't capable or that their dream isn't meant to be. But what if that roadblock was just a checkpoint, not a dead end? What if overcoming it was the very thing that would prepare them for the success they were chasing? Every great accomplishment requires perseverance. The people who achieve their goals are not the ones who had a perfect journey. They are the ones who refuse to quit despite the obstacles. Imagine climbing a mountain. As you ascend, the air gets thinner, the path gets steeper, and fatigue sets in. If you stop and turn around at the first sign of struggle, you will never reach the summit. But if you push forward, adjusting your pace, catching your breath, and learning how to navigate the terrain, you will eventually stand at the top, looking down at how far you've come. Life works the same way. The struggles you face are not there to stop you. They are there to strengthen you, to teach you, to make you capable of handling the success that awaits you. Every time you encounter a setback, you have a choice. You can see it as confirmation of your doubts, or you can see it as an opportunity to grow. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The way you respond will determine the course of your life. If you choose to learn, to adapt, and to keep going, then every setback will become a stepping stone towards something greater. If you let fear, frustration, or self-doubt control you, then setbacks will become the reason you never reach your potential. The most successful people in any field are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who failed the most and kept going anyway. They understood that setbacks were nothing more than training. They didn't dwell on their mistakes. They studied them, extracted lessons, and applied them to their next attempt. Over time, they refined their skills, strengthened their resilience, and developed the ability to succeed where others gave up. Too many people expect the journey to be smooth, believing that if they struggle, it means they aren't cut out for success. But struggle is part of the process. Growth is uncomfortable. Improvement requires effort. If you expect setbacks, embrace them and use them to your advantage. Then nothing can truly stop you. The only real failure is refusing to learn. The only way to lose is to give up. The only thing that stands between you and the life you want is your ability to turn obstacles into opportunities. Challenges are fuel for growth and mastery. Most people look at challenges as roadblocks, as obstacles standing in the way of their success. But the truth is that challenges are the very thing that shape you into the person capable of achieving your highest potential. Without challenges, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no strength. Without resistance, there is no mastery. Every challenge you face is an opportunity, not a punishment. It is life giving you a chance to level up, to refine your skills, to sharpen your mindset, and to become stronger than you were before. When you lift weights at the gym, your muscles grow because of resistance. If there were no resistance, there would be no reason for your muscles to adapt and get stronger. The same is true for life. When you face a challenge, your mind, your character, your resilience, and your problem-solving abilities are all being tested. This test is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. The more you embrace the challenge, the more you expand your capabilities. Most people avoid challenges because they associate them with pain, discomfort, and struggle. But the people who achieve the highest levels of success are the ones who embrace challenges head on. They understand that growth does not happen in comfort. Mastery is not developed through ease. They seek out difficult situations because they know that the more challenges they conquer, the more unstoppable they become. They are not afraid of the mountain in front of them because they know that climbing it will give them the strength and experience to conquer even bigger ones in the future. Everything that you are struggling with right now is preparing you for something greater. The obstacles in your path are not there to stop you, they are there to train you. The frustration you feel when things don't go your way is teaching you patience. The difficulties you encounter in your work are making you more skilled. The setbacks you experience in life are forcing you to become more resourceful, more determined, and more committed. Every great person in history has faced challenges that seemed impossible. Yet they pushed through, and because they pushed through, they achieved things most people only dream of. The problem is that most people see challenges as unfair, as if life is working against them. They complain, they make excuses, and they wish things were easier. But the reality is that nothing worthwhile comes easy. If success were easy, everyone would have it. If mastery required no effort, everyone would be a master. The reason why very few people reach the top is that very few people are willing to embrace the grind, to face the challenges, and to push through when things get tough. When you change your mindset around challenges, you change the way you experience life. Instead of dreading difficulties, you welcome them. Instead of fearing failure, you see it as a teacher. Instead of backing down from adversity, you rise to meet it. The moment you stop seeing challenges as something to avoid and start seeing them as opportunities for growth, you become unstoppable. There is a reason why the best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best artists, and the best leaders are not the ones who had the easiest paths. They are the ones who faced the most adversity, the ones who failed the most, the ones who struggled and stumbled but refused to quit. They are the ones who used every challenge as a stepping stone, every failure as a lesson, and every obstacle as an opportunity to get better. They did not run from difficulty, they ran toward it. Think about a time in your life when you overcame something that seemed impossible. Maybe it was a financial struggle, a personal loss, a difficult job, or a painful breakup. At the time, it may have felt overwhelming. But when you made it through, you were stronger, wiser, and more capable. You developed skills, resilience, and an inner strength that you would not have gained without that challenge. Every difficult experience in your life has contributed to who you are today. Every battle you have fought has given you the tools to take on even bigger challenges. The biggest breakthroughs come from the biggest challenges. When everything seems to be going wrong, when you feel like you have nothing left to give, that is the moment when you are being tested the most. That is the moment when you have the opportunity to break through to a new level. Most people quit at that moment. They see resistance and assume it means they should stop. But those who understand the power of challenges know that resistance is a sign that they're on the right path. It means they are growing. It means they are becoming something greater. Imagine an archer pulling back the string of a bow. The more resistance there is, the farther the arrow will fly. The same is true for you. The more pressure you feel, the greater your potential for success. The challenges you are facing are not meant to hold you back. They are meant to launch you forward. But you have to be willing to endure the pressure, to stay focused, and to push forward even when it feels like everything is against you. Every time you face a challenge, you have two choices. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it define you. You can see it as a roadblock, or you can see it as fuel. The people who win in life are the ones who refuse to let challenges break them. Instead, they use them as motivation. They let their struggles ignite a fire inside them. They take every difficulty as a sign that they are leveling up. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who have the easiest journeys. They're the ones who went through the most pain, the most struggle, and the most adversity, yet they refused to give up. They are the ones who took every challenge and turned it into an advantage. They developed unshakable confidence, unstoppable resilience, and a mindset that could not be broken. Most people think they want an easy life. But an easy life does not create strength. It does not build character. It does not lead to greatness. The people who have the most fulfilling lives are the ones who have conquered the biggest challenges. They have faced their fears, pushed past their limits, and embraced the struggle. They have found meaning in the challenges and purpose in the pain. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is their relationship with challenges. The ones who rise to the top are the ones who see every challenge as an opportunity to grow. They don't complain. They don't look for shortcuts. They don't wish for things to be easier. They focus on becoming stronger because they know that when they are strong enough, no challenge can stop them. Everything you want in life is on the other side of a challenge. The question is not whether challenges will come. They will. The question is whether you will use them as fuel or let them defeat you. The choice is yours. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Most people experience pain and immediately look for an escape. They feel discomfort and their first instinct is to stop, to step back, to retreat. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the greatest teacher, the ultimate guide. The test that separates those who win from those who give up. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through pain. They have endured moments of struggle, moments of exhaustion, moments where they felt like they couldn't go on. But instead of running from it, they leaned into it. They understood that pain is not a signal to stop, it is a signal to grow. When you push your body to the limit in a workout, your muscles burn, your lungs scream for air, and your mind tells you to quit. But if you stop, you stay the same. If you push through, if you embrace the pain, your body adapts, grows stronger, becomes more resilient. The same principle applies to every area of life. The pain of failure, the pain of rejection, the pain of discipline, it all serves a purpose. It is there to strengthen you, to sharpen you, to prepare you for the success that lies ahead. Most people let pain control them. They see it as a warning sign, as proof that they are not meant for something. They start a business, face their first setback, and immediately question whether they should even be trying. They chase a dream, hit an obstacle, and assume it wasn't meant to be. They enter a relationship, experience heartache, and decide they will never love again. But pain is not proof that you should stop. It is proof that you are on the right path. It means you are stretching beyond your comfort zone. It means you are evolving. The biggest mistake people make is believing that pain will last forever. When they are struggling, they assume that struggle will never end. When they are facing hardship, they convince themselves that this is their new reality. But nothing is permanent. Pain, struggle, exhaustion, it all fades. It all passes. What remains is the person you become because of it. If you push through the pain, you come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. But if you quit, that decision stays with you. The moment you surrender to pain, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You teach yourself that discomfort is more powerful than your dreams. Think about every great success story. Behind each one is a person who refused to let pain define them. The athletes who pushed through injury, exhaustion, and defeat. The entrepreneurs who endured years of struggle before finding success. The artists who faced endless rejection before their breakthrough. They all had moments where quitting seemed like the easier option. But they didn't quit because they knew that pain was just part of the journey. They knew that if they could endure it, they would come out on the other side transformed. Pain is the price of progress. There is no growth without struggle. There is no transformation without discomfort. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who never felt pain. They are the ones who felt it and kept going anyway. They built a tolerance for it, a mindset that refused to break. They learned to see pain not as a punishment, but as proof that they were becoming something greater. The problem is that most people don't understand this. They assume that success should be easy, that if something is meant for them, it should come without struggle. They compare themselves to others, seeing only the victories, never the battles that happen behind the scenes. They convince themselves that if they are facing pain, they are on the wrong path. But the truth is, the struggle is what creates the success. The pain is what forges the strength. The hardest moments in life are the moments that shape you into the person you are meant to become. Imagine climbing a mountain. At the base, everything is easy. The air is rich, the path is smooth, and the journey feels effortless. But as you ascend, the climb becomes harder. The air gets thinner, the terrain gets rough, your legs start to burn, your lungs beg for rest. This is the point where most people stop. They look at the pain and assume they've reached their limit. But those who keep going, those who embrace the burn, those who push through the exhaustion, those are the ones who reach the summit. They are the ones who stand at the top and look down at how far they've come. Pain is not there to stop you. It is there to challenge you. It is there to force you to dig deeper, to tap into strength you didn't even know you had. When you feel like quitting, that is the exact moment when you need to push harder. That is the moment when growth is happening, when transformation is taking place. If you stop, you never discover what you are truly capable of. If you push forward, you break through limitations you once thought were unbreakable. Every time you quit because of pain, you reinforce the belief that you are not strong enough. Every time you endure pain and keep going, you prove to yourself that nothing can break you. The most successful people in the world have mastered this. They do not run from pain. They do not fear struggle. They embrace it, they seek it out. They know that every painful moment is an investment in their future self. Discomfort is the currency of success. The more you are willing to endure, the greater the rewards. The people who rise to the top in any field are not the most talented, the most intelligent, or the luckiest. They are the ones who are willing to endure the most pain, the ones who sacrifice comfort for greatness, the ones who refuse to let temporary struggle define their destiny. Think about the moments in your life when you faced pain and kept going. Maybe it was a tough workout, a demanding job, a difficult personal situation. In the moment, it felt unbearable, but looking back, you realize that those moments made you stronger. They shaped you. They prepared you for bigger challenges. Every hardship you have ever faced has given you the tools to handle what comes next. Every painful experience has made you more resilient. The key is to stop fearing pain and start using it. When you feel resistance, when you feel discomfort, when you feel like you can't go any further, that is your sign to keep going. That is your body, your mind, your spirit being tested. And if you pass the test, if you endure, if you refuse to quit, you will emerge with a strength that few people ever develop. The world is full of people who gave up because they couldn't handle the pain. People who had dreams, ambitions, talents, but who surrendered the moment things got tough. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is simple. One group was willing to endure, and the other was not. Pain is temporary. It comes and goes. It is fleeting. But quitting, that lasts. That stays with you. That becomes a part of who you are. Every time you quit, you reinforce the habit of stopping when things get hard. But every time you push through, you reinforce the habit of perseverance. You develop grit. You develop resilience. You develop the mindset that nothing can break you. The question is not whether you will face pain. You will. The question is what you will do when it comes. Will you let it stop you? Will you allow it to dictate your future? Or will you rise above it? Will you embrace it, use it, turn it into fuel? The choice is yours. Success is not about talent, luck, or intelligence. It is about relentless, unstoppable action. The people who win in life are not always the smartest, the most gifted, or the most fortunate. They are the ones who refuse to stop moving forward. They are the ones who take massive action every single day, who do not wait for the perfect moment, who do not hesitate, who do not allow fear to paralyze them. They are the ones who understand that motion creates momentum and momentum creates results. Most people get stuck in their own heads. They overthink, they analyze, they wait until they feel ready. They tell themselves they need more information, more preparation, more certainty. But the truth is, action is what creates clarity. You do not need to have everything figured out before you start. You just need to start. The most successful people in the world did not wait for the perfect conditions. They moved forward with whatever they had, wherever they were, and they figured out the details along the way. Action eliminates fear. Fear thrives in hesitation. The longer you wait, the more excuses you will find, the bigger the obstacles will seem, and the harder it will be to move. But the moment you take action, even if it is imperfect, fear starts to lose its grip. The moment you step forward, you prove to yourself that you are in control, not your doubts, not your fears, not your insecurities. Most people fail before they even begin because they convince themselves that they are not ready. But no one is ever truly ready. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people act despite not feeling ready. They jump before they see the net. They move before they have all the answers. They trust that they will figure it out along the way because they know that waiting will only lead to stagnation. The reason why most people stay stuck is that they confuse movement with progress. They think that reading, researching, and planning is the same as taking action, but it's not. Learning has its place, but learning without action is just another form of procrastination. You don't need another book, another seminar, another strategy before you start. You need to take the first step. You need to make the call, write the page, start the business, hit the gym, whatever it is. You need to do it now, not later. Successful people do not rely on motivation. Motivation is unreliable, fleeting, inconsistent. It comes and goes. And if you depend on it, you will never take consistent action. The most powerful people in the world operate on discipline, not motivation. They do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. They do not wait for the right mood, the right circumstances, or the right mindset. They take action regardless of how they feel. You do not need permission to chase your goals. You do not need someone to validate your dreams before you begin. Most people waste years waiting for approval, waiting for someone to tell them they are good enough, talented enough, capable enough. But the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to push you if you are not willing to push yourself. The only way forward is through action. The greatest breakthroughs in history did not come from people who waited. They came from people who took risks, who moved before they were ready, who acted in the face of uncertainty. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, artist, and leader has one thing in common. They took massive action before they had all the answers. They didn't sit around waiting for inspiration. They didn't wait for things to be perfect. They just started. Perfectionism is just another word for fear. People who insist on getting everything right before they begin are just afraid of failure. But failure is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced. Failure is feedback. Failure is part of the process. The only real failure is inaction. The only way to lose is to do nothing. Think about the moments in your life when you accomplished something you once thought was impossible. At one point, you had no idea how to do it. At one point, it seemed too big, too difficult, too overwhelming. But you figured it out because you took action. You didn't have all the answers when you started, but you gained clarity through movement. Every major success in your life was the result of action, not thought, not analysis, not planning. Action. The truth is, most people already know what they need to do, they just refuse to do it. They tell themselves they need more time, more money, more knowledge. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, next week, next year. But tomorrow turns into never. Next week turns into regret. Next year turns into a lifetime of missed opportunities. The people who win in life are the ones who refuse to make excuses. They do not wait for the stars to align. They do not wait for things to be easy. They start where they are with what they have, and they build from there. The key to success is speed. The faster you take action, the faster you will see results. The longer you wait, the more resistance builds up. The more you hesitate, the more you talk yourself out of it. The most successful people in the world do not waste time. When they get an idea, they act on it immediately. They don't wait for confidence, because confidence comes from action. They don't wait for certainty, because certainty comes from experience. Most people spend their entire lives in the waiting room of success. They wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, the right feeling. But the perfect moment will never come. The only perfect moment is now. Right now is the only time you have control over. Right now is the only time you can take action. If you keep waiting, life will pass you by. If you keep hesitating, opportunities will disappear. Successful people understand the power of urgency. They act as if their dreams depend on it, because they do. They treat every day as a chance to move forward, to grow, to improve. They do not waste time worrying about things they cannot control. They focus on what they can do right now, in this moment. They take full ownership of their actions, their mindset, and their results. Action creates results. It does not matter how small the action is, as long as it moves you forward. The key is consistency. Taking massive action once is not enough. You have to take massive action every single day. You have to be relentless, unshakable, unstoppable. You have to wake up every morning with a sense of purpose, with a fire inside you that refuses to be extinguished. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't is not luck, not talent, not intelligence. It is action. Relentless, massive, unstoppable action. The moment you decide to stop waiting, to stop hesitating, to stop doubting, is the moment your life changes. The moment you commit to taking action every single day, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the obstacles in your path, regardless of the fear in your mind, is the moment you take control of your destiny.